Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name is Chris Meyer. I'm going to be your host for the show today. And today's show is brought to you by the folks at ibranson.com. If you need to know who's playing where and when or what attractions are open, be sure to go to ibranson.com. Our guest artist today is an amazing guitar player here in Branson, Missouri. It is Jacob Nelson. He is over at the Anthems of Rock. And I'm really hoping, if you watch the show, we're hoping that he'll play a little bit of his guitar. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that. Did you know that the electric guitar was first patented in 1937 with a pickup and an amplifier that it made it loud enough to be heard? But as I was going back and kind of researching the guitars, like the guitar has been around since at least 1200 AD, but there's even some folks that say it was around a lot longer than that. So the guitar has been around for a super long time. And let me just tell you, Jacob Nelson knows how to walk around a guitar and play the guitar. I've seen him play, and it's absolutely amazing. So we'll be back in just a second with Jacob Nelson. Hey folks, welcome back to the show. You're watching Jacob Nelson here on Play Branson, and he is a guitar player over at Anthems of Rock, which is at the King's Castle Theater. So maybe somebody's never seen this show. They don't have any clue what it's about. So talk about the show and tell someone what they can expect.
You can expect to have a great time. I remember when I saw it for the first time, I was blown away, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. And like, you know, the singing, the dancing, at the time, it was a different guitarist. I think there's something for everybody. And even if you're not really into like that performing aspect, I think that people can really appreciate the lights alone. I think the lights are incredible, and I think the lights and the tech can really sell a show.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's great for all ages. We get all ages at that theater for all the shows, but for Anthems, I mean, I see 10-year-old to 100-year-old, and they're always enjoying it.
Well, and there's a huge variety of music, and when we hear just the wording Anthems of Rock, I mean, there's a lot of rock music in there, and so you're gonna see really, or you're gonna hear a lot of songs that you're not gonna hear at a lot of other shows in Branson.
Yeah.
And so I went and saw the show this past weekend, and I'm just gonna tell you, like you rocked it out. And so you come out and talk about this solo that you do. We'll let you talk about that.
So the solo that I do is kind of my interpretation of Van Halen's Eruption. And that's a really challenging song. Like how he wrote that song is really, really challenging. And I love Van Halen, but I also wanted to do it my own way.
Right.
So I took my favorite parts from that little Eruption solo. It's like a minute, 30 seconds or something like that. And I just kind of added my own stuff into there too, and This season, I've added some different guitarists, some of their little licks and riffs and stuff like that. So like Eric Johnson's one of them, or Randy Rhoads is another. And
yeah.
it makes it more fun for me too, because after a while, for that solo, I never play the same thing twice. I mean, I kind of have a roadmap that I follow, but I kind of make things up because I can't remember what I played the last time. So, but having those different licks and those memorable moments that I do, or someone's like, "Oh, I recognize that." That's what I keep, and then everything else is just kind of filler. Last year, before I even got hired with Anthems, my goal for my Branson career was to get at least nominated, and then the year I got with Anthems, I was nominated for 2 awards. So my goal was complete. I was happy. I was very happy. I was set. I was content. I did not expect to win at all the Branson Show Awards, and I was sitting there with the cast, and they went through and they announced all the nominations and stuff like that, and I know most all of them that were nominated, and they're incredible players. And they said my name, I won. I couldn't believe it.
That's great.
I wasn't sure how to comprehend that, because
Yeah.
I was just so happy with being nominated.
Yeah.
And knowing the history of the Wackerlys and who they are, like that was such an honor to even be thought of to be one of the best. Because I don't see myself that way, because there are so many incredible guitarists out there. Just in Branson alone, it's an honor to be in that category with them.
I tell you what, we're going to stop right here, and we'll be back in just a second more to learn more about Anthems of Rock.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
We always, on the show, if you've watched it for any length of time, we always like to go way back and talk about your history. And so talk about how you got into this business and what that journey looked like.
It's been a fun, interesting journey. When I was growing up, I went to church in a small town in Iowa where my dad and my mom were in the praise band at that time. And my dad was the guitarist and my mom sang. And so I've always kind of been around it. And then my brothers got into drums, and my other brother played guitar as well. And so it's just kind of been a family thing for a while. Before I even played guitar, my dad and I, we were sitting in the living room watching Led Zeppelin Live, a DVD that we had. And every song he had a connection with, because I mean, he grew up in that time era. And Stairway to Heaven came on, and he got silent, and he kind of got like, on the edge of his chair, and he was watching the movie. And that build up to the guitar solo was building up, and for the first time I felt like goosebumps. I felt touched from music. And then when Jimmy Page played that first riff for that solo, like that's when I knew I wanted to be a musician. And then my dad passed away when I was 10 years old, and I really wanted to have something else to like connect with him about. And we still had his guitar, so I picked that up, and I didn't know anything. Like I knew Smoke on the Water, like one string riff. That was my baby. I had that for a long time, and I spent way too much time with that thing, probably. I think I was 12 or 13. I can't remember how old I was, but there was a woman in my small town who was a singer. She's a great singer, and she said that she was singing at her friend's wedding, and she asked me to play with her. And I was nervous. That was my first my live gig, and it was some country song I've not heard since that day. But when I was 16, I got into my first band called Caught in the Crypt, and that's when in my opinion, my career took off, because we would go all over Iowa at shows, at bars and stuff like that. My first show was on a Wednesday night in a bar until like midnight, so that was
So
fun.
were you 16 still at that point?
Yeah, I was 16 then, yeah.
That's
And
pretty crazy.
that was a school night too, and thank you Mom, let me do that. About 2 years passed from that, and I started my own band called Noise Complaint with some guys from my local town there, and we did like homecoming, and we had a Town and Country Days parade there where we celebrated the town, and so we did that for a while.
And what kind of music were y'all playing at that point?
So for Caught in the Crypt, like I said, it was getting more metal, and then the Noise Complaint, that was a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But we kind of took it with our own spin. Like we did, for example, Mary Jane's Last Dance by Tom Petty, and which I really like that song, but I wanted to make it my own, so I kind of did more. I don't know. I made it my own, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And made it how I thought it should be written, if that makes sense.
We're going to stop right there. Hang tight, and we're going to come back more in just a minute. So we'll be right back. One of the things that's interesting in this is you had an accident.
Yeah.
And I was reading about it, and I'm like, for me to see you on stage playing like you've had to overcome a lot.
Yeah, and I still am. I had some. My arm was really messed up. The doctors weren't sure if they were going to be able to save it or not. It's all scarred up, and there's some scar tissue in there. It looks gnarly, actually, but they didn't think they were going to be able to save it. And then when they did, there was still about an 80% chance or something. There's a lot of percentages that were thrown at me. They weren't sure if it was gonna keep or not. And I have 2 plates in here and like 30 screws, and I broke my wrist at that time too. There's a screw in there, and I have a lot of back injuries still. They're getting better, thankfully. Like this year, I feel physically like a new man.
Yeah.
But
So do you set off the alarms when you go to the airport?
I don't. No, that was actually a question I had.
Yeah.
And evidently, scientifically, it's titanium. I guess that's not.
Okay.
I don't know.
But you came to Branson because you're like, hey, I want to get into the music business, right?
Yeah. Actually, there's a local theater who does a music camp every year, and for graduation, my grandma got me tickets to go to that. And I was hesitant because I was like looking into it, and it was more about like stage performance, like on Broadway and stuff like that, and singing and dancing and stuff like that. And that wasn't my strong suit. That's not where I was interested in learning.
Right.
But I can't tell grandma no. So I came, and I'm very thankful that I came because I met people that I still love to death to this day. And when I got back from that camp, within the month I'd moved down here. I think it was 2021 where Oh Happy Day had called me because I was working Spotlight for them actually for a little while. And so I got in with them, and so I was with them for 2 seasons, and then Anthems of Rock. And so I'm excited to see what comes next.
Let me tell you guys, you got to go see him rock it out. So, okay, we'll be back in just a second. Hey folks, we're going to watch a little bit of Jacob Nelson tearing up the guitar, so watch this.
Awesome. The last part was a mistake. It sounded cool though.
Yes, I'm sick. Yeah.
Okay, folks, welcome back. We're closing out the show today, and be sure to go see Anthems of Rock over at King's Castle. They have lots of shows over there as well. They have several other different shows. They have the 70s show there. They have the Dublin Irish Tenors and Celtic Ladies. They have New Jersey Nights. So a bunch of variety there, but you'll want to, if you like rock music, you definitely need to go check out Anthems of Rock, and you need to see Jacob play the guitar because it is an amazing experience, and I've done it, I've seen him play, and it blew me away. Couple things we want to let you know about coming up. Next weekend, March 31st, out at Silver Dollar City, they've got a bunch of bands out there for Young Christians Weekend. If you haven't got your tickets, you may want to look at doing that. Manic Drive, Corey Asbury, Riley Clemens, and We Are Messengers are all going to be out there performing. April 6th through the 30th, they've got Street Fest, a bunch of new entertainers coming in during Street Fest, and then May 4th through the May 29th, Bluegrass and Barbecue. Can't go wrong with that. Followed by June 3rd, Michael W. Smith out at Silver Dollar City. So lots of great events this spring, summer season out at Silver Dollar City. We also have Matt Gum doing 14 dates this year, starting May 27th at 2 p.m. over at the Clay Cooper Theater, followed by June 18th. And then this fall, we've got a bunch of entertainers coming to town, people like the Oak Ridge Boys, Jimmy Fortune, Gene Watson, Larry's Country Diner, Ricky Skaggs, the Gatlin Brothers, the Bellany Brothers. So a whole bunch of people. So if you're here in Branson for spring break, be sure to come back this summer and fall for other great entertainers. And of course, we have great shows every day in Branson. If you need help planning your Branson vacation, folks, go to ibranson.com and those folks can help you out, or you can call them at 877-ENTERTAIN. And if you haven't been to our Facebook page, check it out, like it, let us know who you'd like to see on a future episode of Play Branson. We'll be back next week here on Play Branson.